So FD Signifier, in one of his videos, he mentioned that the trophy wife was debunked. And I think it was the second time that I'd heard this. And to me, I could not really appreciate how this could have been debunked. The fact that um, somebody might get married to another person just for the sake of their looks. Um, and you know, that could happen. To me, how do you debunk that? It seems that people would do that. I don't understand how you debunk that at all. Anyway, this was like the second time that I'd heard it, and props to FD Signifier. You never know what happens with these recordings, if the person actually hears it or not. But I love his content. I don't agree with 100%, but maybe like 98% of the stuff that he says. So this is not. I don't have any problem with FD Signifier at all. It's just this idea that that would not happen. So anyway, I went looking to find out about this debunking. So apparently, there's a sociologist and she did a survey of, I guess, different studies, or it was just, I can't remember exactly what the survey was about, but I mean specifically the sources, but obviously she's like getting information from people who are married, different couples, and so on. And at the end of it, her assessment as to why this does not happen and why it's mostly a myth. And that's interesting. Her paper is saying that it's not that necessarily that it's been debunked, but that it's mostly a myth. So that means there's truth to it. And I'm not one of these people who put all of this credibility into, oh, well, there's a kernel of truth. If something is mainly BS under normal circumstances, I would be like, well, it's mainly BS. Kernel of truth, forget about that. But this is the thing. Trophy wives, at least in my mind, was never something that you'd expect to see. Like every other couple would be based on a trophy wife. Every other marriage would be based on that. But the whole idea is that this person is a trophy. Now, this is not the kind of trophy that you get where, it's a participation trophy, at least not to my understanding. If it's a guy, and as opposed to, a trophy husband, the idea is that this person has resources. So from the get-go, you can't have a trophy wife if you don't have any money. So most people, this is not their thing. This is not their bag. So I never had this idea that, 50% of people, 25%, 10% of marriages would be based on a trophy wife. That's not the wealthiest people, maybe, the top 10. And then again, this is the thing about it as well, is that this person is a trophy. If you were born rich, I don't see that you are getting or giving yourself a trophy for this. The whole idea is that you maybe were not in any way wealthy. You didn't have any money. But now you have become the CEO of a company. And again, CEOs are not common. So I don't know what this expectation was in some spaces. And I keep talking about this. This is what the lady is suggesting. She did a survey, and most people's marriages were not structured like this. And she's saying it's mostly a myth. Well, I don't know what her expectations were going in. This is the thing about it. Gay couples, gay marriages, account for 1% of all marriages. And gay people account for like 1% of the population. 1% of men are gay. Of course, there are other people who don't consider themselves gay, but they might engage in homosexual activity. But forgetting about them for the moment. The fact that most people are not gay, the overwhelming percentage of people are not gay, does that mean that gay people are debunked? Gay people exist in very small numbers, but they exist 100%. So to me, this idea that you go looking amongst most marriages and you don't find something, this is like a straw man. Trophy wives were never going to be common because they're amongst people, not even rich people. The idea is that, and when I went looking, the definition I found in Wikipedia was that, a trophy wife is going to be, in many instances, the second, third, or fourth wife of someone who is an old person, like Anna Nicole Smith, right? You are rich, you're wealthy, you're old, and you decide to have this relationship and get married to somebody much younger than you, much prettier than you, with whom you have almost nothing in common. That was never going to be common. So, and then there are the assumptions that Elizabeth, I can't remember her last name, the assumptions that she makes. Oh my God, I mean, some of them kind of make sense, and then some of them are just ridiculous. For example, there's an assumption in there that rich people are going to be better looking. So when you see this attractive person with perhaps an unattractive male or wealthy other person, they might be rich too. Haven't you considered that? They might not be a gold digger. They might be rich too. And I'm kind of like, they might be rich, but I don't know about this idea that rich people are more likely to be good looking. This is based on what study? Or which rich people are going to be have better nutrition, and that's the assumptions, and they can afford makeup. What kind of nonsense are you talking? Anybody could afford makeup these days, and food in wealthier countries. I mean, really, really. I mean, the lowest 20% of people, uh, good nutrition might be a problem for them, right? So maybe. But I can't really see that in modern day developed societies that, and this is the thing, a lot of rich people are not necessarily going to eat well either. There's some really good examples of rich people, if you're saying it's a girl. And then on the other side of this, okay, the girl that you're seeing that you think might be a trophy wife, she might be wealthy as well. From what? Being a CEO? Or from being a, what are you talking about? What are these assumptions? This is just craziness. If she's going to be well off, I don't think it's probably because her family is well off. Just look in amongst billionaires, look amongst CEOs, look amongst celebrities. The richest people are not going to be women. They can be women. I'm not saying that's never going to happen, but I what? So anyway, at the end of this whole long thing is that no, I don't think the trophy wife has been debunked. I think that somebody made a straw man of what the trophy wife was supposed to be, but is not, and destroyed that straw man and said, yay, I debunked the trophy wife. No, I don't even know that I saw anything that was a good description of what a trophy wife actually was, a definition. It was just this idea that most people marry people at their level or their looks, their level of attractiveness. So attractive people marry attractive people, and wealthy people marry wealthy people, and poor people marry. Yeah, 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 that's true. And that debunks or helps in any way, shape, or form to debunk the fact that trophy wives might exist? No, no, it doesn't. Because most people, contrary to what people think, most first marriages do not end in divorce. The reason why there are 50% of marriages end in divorce is because there are a group of people who get married a second time. So there's a number of divorces, but most people get married and stay married, whether that is the first marriage, which is I think 60% of people, or somewhere there, 60% of people remain married in their first marriage. Then there's another significant number of people who remain married in their second marriage. So most people uh, don't get divorced, or they stay married. So this phenomenon where you would find somebody who is marrying the second or the third partner, it's not really that common to begin with. And yeah, this trophy wife debunk does not make any sense. It's not really a debunk. Uh, no, I'm sorry. There's no way for everybody to know everything, or even to go reading through this thing. But yeah, so I've said stuff that I believed that was incorrect, and I think that FD Signifier did that in this case as well.